And we are live. Yes! Yes! It's Friday night, and what else would you rather do than be here with me and talk some football? I am streaming to you live from YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So when you come in, make sure you give me the thumbs up. I'm going to break down every Week 11 game, plus all questions will be answered. I'll answer you live. I'm going to break down every game. I'm going to give you the winner, and I'm going to break down the line. And if you watched the video, I did not put it in the description. I should have. It just hit me. I did all my picks earlier in the week, but I will reveal them to you on this show. Before we get going, I want to talk about Thursday night football. Unlike the Titans offensive coordinator, I did not have anything to drink before or after the game. Titans offensive coordinator Todd Downing got a DUI or DWI. I think it's the same thing. That's going to be an effect because it really takes away from what I thought was a really good performance by the Tennessee Titans. Jeffrey Simmons, a guy that I think is just amazing, looked like he was about maybe 60%, if that, and did a fantastic job. He did have a sack, but really the Titans defense really looked pretty good. Aaron Rodgers, it's funny, a lot of respect for Packers fans, but after that game, for the first time in a long time, Packers social media was criticizing Rodgers. Here's a guy who's been two-time MVP and definitely a Hall of Fame quarterback, and they're throwing some shade on him. It's like, Jesus Christ. I understand the frustration, but you got a guy who's 38 banged up, and that's not the answer. I think it was more just Tennessee being a really good team and Green Bay just being mediocre. Funk's in the house. What's good, buddy? You know what? It's actually funny, Funk. I'm glad you're here. About 2 hours ago, I was watching Detroit and Chicago play. I finally got to watch that game. I watched the whole thing. I missed part of the first half. I could say a lot of things about that game, but I'm going to go through. I'm going to talk about all the games this week. It does affect how they played against Chicago. We'll go into how I think they're going to do. But, yeah, I'm the only Lions fan that wants to see Packers win. I'm thinking how I don't want to see it's funny. I mean, it was just I have not been able to get gauged Packers right all year, but I really thought it was just a testament to Tennessee. I mean, they're really banged up. And Jeffrey Simmons, he did have a key sack late, but man, that team's tough, man. I mean, they're limited offensively, but you get Derrick Henry going. Their defense likes to play ugly. Man, they're a good team. Tennessee's a really good team. They're an underrated team that if Derrick Henry's healthy going into the playoffs, that's a scary team that you don't want to play. But the problem is that Derrick Henry takes so much punishment. Can he absorb 2 months of playing in the NFL? His health's always been kind of iffy. Nothing against him, but yeah. Okay, Dan, here are the picks. Amazement. What is up, brother? Bengals. You know what? Let me put the notes down. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna mark this down because I want to reference this and I want to give you credit, and I'm always gonna go ahead and give you credit, and I'll give you praise too. So I'm gonna keep track of this. I don't know why it's just me. So Cincinnati -4. Chicago +3, Dallas -1.5. That's interesting. And the Raiders +3. I'm going to talk about all these. I'm going to put this off to the side though. I love when somebody's got their picks. Let me ask you something. Did you actually bet on this, or are these just games you like? So you tell me. Another 15-year stud quarterback. I mean, look, his last 2 years, he's as good as anybody. So, I mean, I don't think it's really him. I really don't think it's Rodgers as much as I think it's the offensive line. They're trying to protect him, but yeah. It was just, here's the thing. I was just shocked to see Green Bay turn on him, Green Bay social media. Now, social media is full of idiots out there. I mean, Chiefs Kingdom is quickly becoming the dumbest fan base in all of sports. Trust me, I'm part of it. So when I see Packers fans doing and saying stupid stuff, it's like, you know, I'm not, it's like, you know, hey, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, but I was really surprised. That was Joseph's worst game so far. I didn't think he played terrible. He didn't play good. I don't understand what you don't like about Okudah, because except for not being able to run Fields down, I thought he played really well. He had the touchdown. There was a lot to like about Okudah, but I mean, you had Okudah that played well. You had Hutchinson that played well. I had no idea Jared Davis was back. I really love that guy coming out of Florida, and I know his rookie year he played well. Barnes is another guy you guys were really high on last year, so there's some good things to like about that game. There's some. The number one take I have is that I understand the Bears' excitement, but that 2-minute offense, if you didn't watch the game, scores 31-30. The Chicago gets the ball back with 2:13 remaining and 3 timeouts, and they do the worst 2-minute offense I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, you basically everything that they did, they should have done just the opposite. It was just garbage. And I could also really tear apart the Lions' performance, which wasn't good. But in that final sequence, though, Hutchinson sacks the quarterback, and the front four cause a lot of problems. So yeah, there's as far as Joseph goes, I don't remember him doing anything big. I don't remember not liking anything. But if it's his worst game, then he's playing really good. So I'm thinking about taking the under on Barkley for yards this week. Lions are not bad against the run. The quarterback's been killing them in the run game. You know, it's actually funny. I was going to actually bet on that, and then I saw the number. I think on my bookie it was like 97.5, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that, because if I'm going to talk about that game in some more detail. I'm going to read through some of these comments, and then I'm just going to get going here. Texans beating the Commanders. Alex in the house. Alex, you know I need a Texans win. Actually, I need 3 of them. I really need to get the 4.5 wins. I really need that. I'm going to lose a lot of money if they don't. Not as unlikely as you may think, though. Games I like, and okay, you're going to bet on all 4 of these, okay? If you didn't watch my video, I should have a link to it on the description. I do not. But go to my YouTube channel. You'll see my picks. You also see Denver Gators picks. Now, full disclosure, he picked the Browns and he picked the under for the Bills-Browns game. But that was when the game was going to be played in 15 feet of snow. So I didn't include those. I had to do some editing work. But the 2 picks he has are the same picks I have. So check those out. And hold on, I'll put it down here. And we'll go over all these that you like. We'll go over all these. Amari Rodgers with 2 touchdowns. Benjamin's going to run for a 9. Amari Rodgers is in Houston. I actually did not know that. You know what? Seriously, I'm glad you're here, because I did not know that. I did not know Amari Rodgers was picked up by Houston. Great pickup by Houston. Seriously, it wouldn't surprise me if he stays with the team if he ends up being a running back. Don't be surprised. Eno Benjamin, that was a very surprising cut. That could be a steal, because he's a guy I really like, and I think it's also a nice compliment to Pierce, who's more of a physical runner. Benjamin's not, but he can do it all. It's a nice. I don't think that they're going to run for. Let me see here. That would be a 219, but I would love it. I would love it. I told you to disrespect the Titans always get. And last night, honestly, I thought the game was over at the Titans opening drive. Henry was Too much for the Packers. You're right. You're right. Seriously, Derrick Henry played really well. But the thing is about the Titans is really that impressive front seven. And Jeffrey Simmons was like, I think it's 60%. I don't know the number. He didn't even play last week. He didn't look the same, but he did have a sack late in the game, which is going to look good on the stat line, but he wasn't the same dominant force. Really, that Titans team's dangerous because you have a front seven, and Green Bay's defense played perfectly. This is what you do. They lined up with a 6-man front, a middle linebacker, and just tried to stop the run. And then Tannehill was able to complete all sorts of passes, which they were okay with. The problem is that Green Bay's offense couldn't keep up. They even had that interception late, which I thought might make it an interesting game, but it didn't. So the pick six was all because of Hutch. Okudah owes a mistake dinner for realizing the tight end snuck out, and instead of playing like a rookie. I wasn't impressed with Okudah because of the pick six. Just the way I watch him, he looks like a legit number one corner. That pick six, I wasn't sure if it was Okudah or Hutch, but I mean, the guy who really deserves credit for that play is Justin Fields, who had a bonehead decision. I mean, that's just, he kept on doing that. And see, that's one of the things I don't like about mobile quarterbacks is that once you excel with the run, you become reliant on it. And that's a situation where he just needed to throw the ball away instead of just, he was making plays and felt like he could do no wrong and just got kind of full of himself. Ideally, next year he throws that ball away, or it may take him 2 years, maybe later this season. You don't know, but that was just a bonehead move. I'm not counting that. He played Claypool in man coverage really well, and I mean, he just looks like a shutdown corner. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I see. When I watch Detroit, like Okudah to me looks like the best player in that besides Hutchinson. It's Hutchinson looks really good, Okudah looks really good, and the rest of the defense kind of stinks. That's what I see. Tim's in the house. What's up, son? Looking ahead. What's your favorite Thanksgiving game this year? You know what? I'm not even looking at Thanksgiving yet. But I will tell you this, the Giants-Cowboys game looks like a lot of fun. Giants-Cowboys looks like a lot of fun, but I'm not even there yet, man. I got 3 bets, and I may do more. I could see that at Alex. I was tempted to take Washington. Let me try this again. I can see that. I was tempted to take Washington in my survival pool, but I'm leaning towards Saints over Rams. Dalton makes me nervous. Yeah, I get that. LA at Saints. By the way, you are aware. I'm glad you touched base on that because I almost skipped. This, but you are aware Stafford is going to play. Stafford did pass concussion protocol. He is going to play, so just be aware of that. Actually, I do like the Saints in that game, to tell you the truth, even with Stafford. So. Picks for the week: Atlanta over Chicago. But you know what? I'm gonna let me do mine, and I'll touch base and see if we got any that disagree. Okudah looked like a legit number 1 against wide receivers. Should be wide receiver number 2 at best on the other team. Claypool is trash. Okay, he's a number 2 guy. He's not trash. I mean, he's definitely not trash, but he's a number 2. But still, I mean, I think every time I've watched Detroit play this year, though, Okudah's looked really well. I don't know why we disagree so much on that, which is kind of a surprise. We disagree. I'm gonna star these comments, Alex, because I want to keep tabs of all these. But how about the Bills playing back-to-back games in Detroit? That's going to be very interesting because do they develop like any kind of home field advantage? Bills Mafia travels well. I would be shocked if they didn't beat Cleveland. So you may have a half. I don't know. I'm speculating. You tell me, because Thanksgiving is usually a very important game for the Detroit Lions. how much of Bills Mafia is going to be there. Because I can tell you when they've played at Arrowhead, they are there at Arrowhead, and they do travel well. So how much of that Detroit crowd is going to be Buffalo, like 10, 15%, maybe higher, maybe lower. If Chargers are healthy, I can see that, but then get into Charger up. I may take them at 5. I'll talk about that. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. I'm using DraftKings, so I'm assuming DraftKings has all the games. If somebody doesn't, I can switch over. All the numbers are from DraftKings, so you may be able to get a different number depending on which service you're using. It was funny. I was talking to a guy earlier today. I said, hey, who do you use for sports betting? He goes, all of them. And he meant it. We kind of went into some detail. I told him, send me your information for MGM and BetUS, and I'll try to get that reference bonus out. Yeah, Stingley's out for Sunday. I didn't. I should have said that earlier, but yeah, Stingley's out. Stingley is out, and it's. I think he'll play next week. So yeah, he's played pretty well. He's not playing near the level Sauce Gardner's playing, which should have been the pick, but he's playing really well. Not insulting you, but I mean these are facts. But Stingley's playing good, though. First up, Philadelphia travels to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a 7-point home dog. The over-under is 45.5. Philly fresh off of a loss, playing a rejuvenated Colts team. As far as sports betting goes, I would advise staying away from this completely. Do not bet on this game. However, I am leaning towards the Eagles. I think that they're the best team in the NFC, maybe the best team in the NFL. Fluky game. With the Colts, you have so much of an unknown factor there. You have so much of an unknown factor that I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But I do like the Eagles to win. I don't know if they cover. The over-under is 45.5. Both teams are good defensively. The Colts, until last week's offense, just looked terrific. Again, this is one I would urge against, but you're playing indoors. Philly's offense can score a lot of points, but they're both run-heavy teams. I would lean towards the under. I would not bet on this game at all, but if you do have to take a bet, take the Colts to cover 7 and take the under. This is a game I would strongly recommend not betting. No slander. This is not a bad thing saying that he's not as good as Sauce Gardner, but he's playing really well. I like watching him play, and I like him in that defense. Let's see Okudah do something against a legitimate receiver one-on-one without safety up. I mean, dude was covering the 4th option against the Fins, and people want to celebrate because he gave up 1 catch. But all right. I'm just telling you what I see, and that's besides Hutchinson. Yeah. So let's see Saturday pull off an upset. Don't bet. I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole, Funk. I would not touch this game with a 10-foot pole. And I strongly recommend if you're betting on this to don't. But yeah, I would take Philly to win, Colts to cover, but I wouldn't touch it. I use all of them too. Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to go into detail on some of that. Slasher, what's up, brother, man? Man, I can't believe that shit with Dallas Goedert. Yeah. And by the way, if you're not familiar with what he's talking about, Jamin Davis, obvious face mask, easy call, and the referees missed it. Yeah. Dan's not going to like my KC versus LA pick. That's okay. This is not an echo chamber, but I did put 100 on it. So hopefully you're not betting on me to lose money. Next up, Washington at Houston. Houston's a 3-point home underdog. The over-under is 41. I have a surprise pick here. I think Houston actually wins and covers, and I like the over. The reason why is I think right after that big win, I don't think that they can get really amped up again. And I think Houston matches up pretty well against Washington. I think that they're going to run the ball pretty well. I haven't seen any form of consistency within Washington. So you get up for the big games. usually you get down for the bad teams. I think this is a game you watch out for. I wouldn't recommend betting this one, to tell you the truth. The best play, I think, may be the over. I think you could have some. It's only 41. That's why I kind of like the over. So next up, in Detroit, Cleveland is playing Buffalo. The over-under is now 49.5. I like the under anyway. Bills are now 7.5-point favorites, and I have no idea really which one to pick here. I do like the Bills to win. I don't know if they can cover 7.5. I think it's going to be a surprisingly close game. I would lean towards the under because I do think Cleveland's going to be able to run the ball very well against the Bills defense. It was funny on social media. I think it was on Twitter. Who's best running back in the NFL? And it's funny because people are posting Barkley, and it's not even close. That's like my least favorite thing on Twitter when I hear an argument like that and somebody posts, it's not even close, when it obviously is. And then 3 tweets later, it's Derrick Henry and it's not even close. And I think it's Nick Chubb, but the best running back in football, in my opinion, is Nick Chubb. But if you said it was Saquon Barkley, or if you said it was Derrick Henry, I don't think you're wrong. But I mean, for my money, it's Nick Chubb. For my money, it's Nick Chubb. And I don't think Buffalo can stop him. I like under 49.5 a lot. I like that a lot. I wouldn't recommend betting this game because how are they going to handle the move, the sudden move? It's going to be interesting, but I would avoid betting this game, but I do like it. Chiefs got some injuries too, plus those games are always close. The over looks tempting too. Yes, the over does look very tempting. The over does look very tempting. By the way, if you come in, don't forget, give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. It helps the algorithm, really helps me out. And I'd always appreciate it if you just put anything in the comments section after the show's over. It does help the YouTube algorithm, helps me grow and do more cool things. So, and then it's Quaz Watkins fumbling the touchdown to put us up. The game was just, And by the way, there's nothing bad about the Eagles. I didn't think anything of it. It was very funny that Eagles fans were booing their Eagles at halftime. Very funny. Very funny. You can see what happens too when Jordan Davis is out there on obvious rundowns. We get crumbled. It's funny because Tuesday somebody was talking about Georgia players not playing well in the next level, and I'm like, well, Jordan Davis is injured, and Quay Walker actually isn't playing bad. I think those more in reference to great 23 minutes into a show, name freeze. Trayvon Walker is more than a Trayvon Walker. But as a number 1 pick, he probably is going to be a bust because he's not a natural sack guy. But I wouldn't call him a bust. But Georgia players aren't terrible. But yeah, Jordan Davis. Sorry. One negative about using the DraftKings website is that it. Wow. Okay, so this is kind of strange because it just completely reset the order. So I apologize. That face mask was an easy call on Goddard flexing on Anzalone. I'll never get that name right. Big on third down. They didn't get that flag thrown either. What do I think about the Eagles getting Sue? Great move. Great move. Great move. Sue going to the Eagles is a phenomenal pick. So I apologize because I forget that and it changes the order up completely too. So I have no idea. All right. Well, let's go on it. Great move by the Eagles. Pierce is offensive rookie of the league, no doubt. Here's the deal. I think he is. I don't think he wins it just because as of right now, you got 1 win. Does he deserve it? I think he does. Will he? The answer is no. Sue is a playoff push guy. Yeah. God, I wish I would have thought of that myself, but yeah. James, what's up, brother? It would be nice if the Lions won. Well, you know what? Let me go. I'm going to go in my new order here. Chicago at Atlanta. Atlanta's a 3-point home favorite. The over-under is 49.5. The Bears' offense has been very explosive. The Falcons are kind of a strange team. I would not touch this game with a 10-foot pole. I do like Atlanta here. I think Atlanta can run the ball. The Bears defense suddenly is not very good. They didn't play terrible against the Lions, but they didn't play well either. I think Atlanta runs the ball, just plays a real solid game here. I kind of like Atlanta. I don't love Atlanta. I wouldn't touch this one. Over under is 49.5, even though both teams can score at times. I wouldn't touch this game at all. I like the under, maybe. And I like Atlanta to cover 3 in a surprise. Next game is one I put money on. Detroit at New York. New York is a 3-point home favorite. Over under is 45. I love the Giants here. Here's a team that runs the ball more than anybody in the NFL, except for I think Baltimore. They're like third in yards, second in points. Saquon Barkley leads the NFL in rushing. They're at home against a team with the 32nd ranked scoring defense, 31st ranked rushing defense. Bottom line, the Giants have a top 10 scoring defense. They're at home. This to me is a no-brainer. I don't think the line should be at 3. I think it could be like at 5, 5.5, maybe even 6. This is my number one game to bet on. I'm sorry, Lions fans. This is a no-brainer. I took the money line. I didn't take the 3, but I think they definitely cover 3. Drawing a complete blank on Jalen Carter. Are you talking about the Georgia defensive lineman? Yeah, that's who you're talking about. I am actually really high on Jalen Carter. I think you're soul. Here's the deal. Few things. Number one, Georgia rotates players in and out all the time. Number two, his job isn't really get a lot of production. His job's really kind of eat up sacks. I actually am very high on Carter, and as of right now, he looks like a top 10 pick. But this channel's never meant to be an echo chamber. I always want you to express your opinions and thoughts. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because almost everybody I've heard of are just head over heels in love with Jalen Carter. So I like it when people think a little different and outside the box. So you don't like the production? All right, that's a good point. If the Lions can beat the Giants, the Bills game on Thanksgiving will be very interesting. I hope so. That way, all 3 games can have some more interest. That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because, I mean, the 3 games are 3 really good games. I mean, what do we got here? We got Bills, Lions. Then, actually, I thought these were flipped, but we got Giants, Cowboys. And then finally, New England, Minnesota. And it's kind of funny when the schedule came out, I was like, these 3 could all be duds. All 3 of them could be really good. All 3 of them could be really, really good games. Wins are not an individual stat. To make decisions based on the team stat is massively stupid. All right. I don't disagree with you, Alex. I'm just telling you how awards go in the NFL. And awards go with wins. You can't be MVP and have a losing record. Do I think Pierce should be the offensive player of the year or rookie offensive player of the year? Absolutely. Rookie offense. Yeah, that's right. Rookie offensive player of the year. Yeah, I agree. I'm just telling you what's going to happen is that when you're right now the worst team in the NFL with wins, you don't win awards regardless of whether you deserve it or not. And that's just the way of the world. I do agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But yeah, Pierce and Walker have both been good. Some good defensive rookies too. Yeah. By the way, like I've loved watching Pierce. I mean, I running backs are one of my favorite positions, and I love watching this guy. If you haven't had a chance to watch Houston Texans this year, I hate the hyperbole I'm going to say here, but if you have to, if he reminds you of anybody, reminds me, God, I hate using this. I hate. Don't take me too literal here, okay? Don't take me too literal. I don't even want to say it. Reminds me of Walter Payton. The guy just doesn't want to go down. The guy just doesn't want to go down. Seriously, go watch some Walter Payton highlights, then go watch Dameon Pierce, and they look a lot alike. I mean, especially, and it doesn't have, if you watch old Payton, like 70s Payton, I think you'll see a little more athleticism, but God, Pierce is so much fun to watch. God, I seriously, I'm going to get off this because I do have a man crush on the kid. Denver Gators in the house. Damn, getting ready for chat and pass out. What's up, football nerds? I'd like to know more about this quarterback named Hooker. Okay, you know it's funny because for an hour before the show, I was going over mock drafts, and one of them had Herndon Hooker. He's the Tennessee quarterback, and the only thing really preventing him from being in that top 10 conversations, he's going to be 25 or 26. I think he goes in the first round anyway. I've seen a lot of mock drafts of him going in the second round to a particular team in northern Michigan. So I've seen that. Actually, it's funny. I saw Anthony Richardson going 11, Anthony Richardson going 7, Will Levi's going 7, Herndon Hooker at 11. I love Hooker quite a bit. I think he's going to go in the first round. I think NFL teams are going to fall in love with the kid. I don't care if he turns 26 or not. He's a fun to watch. He's fun to watch. A big, strong kid, big arm, good athleticism. The only thing preventing him from being top 10 is his age. That's it. I usually like to see if team gets 3 at home, which is typical, which tells me Vegas thinks the road team is better. It would be on new. Exactly. Okay. That's why. Here's the deal. If you put the Giants and Lions on a neutral field, I think the Giants would be about 3-point favorite. And on neutral field, that's why I don't get the line at all. That's why I think it should be 5.5 or 6. That's why I love the Giants. I mean, you're a home team, you're a top 10 defense against the 32nd ranked defense. I'm talking in terms of scoring. The Lions can't stop the run. The Giants love to run the ball. I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer here. That's my number one pick is the Giants. I'm sorry, Lions fans, but that's just I'm just looking to make money here. All right, so I have to go out of order. So if I shouldn't be repeating anything, and if I missed a game, let me know. Next is another game I bet. Now, the line went up or down, depending on how you look at it. But the New York Jets at New England, the line's now 3.5. The over-under is dropping. It's 38 now. Weather should not be a factor. It's not going to be good weather, but it's not going to be, it's football weather. I took the New England Patriots at the money line when it was at 3. I strongly suggest if you do bet on this game, the money line's at -165, which is what I would bet on because I hate the hook. You can probably find 3 somewhere else. I love the Patriots. Both the Patriots and the Jets got off of a bye. Now, Christian Barmore is not going to play, which may scare some people, but the New England Patriots are healthier than the Jets. So I really like New England here with New England and the New York Giants. I don't recommend doing this. For those of you who have been following me for a while, I don't like parlays and I don't like two-way teasers, but this is going to be seriously, if you took the Giants and the Patriots on a two-way teaser, for those of you who don't know what that is that both teams have to hit and you get 6 points for each team. All right. So, for example, this one would be New York 3.5, New England plus 2.5. It'll pay almost the same as a straight bet. You're basically, $100 would win you 100 usually. It's not available everywhere, but you could do a two-way teaser. I don't recommend it. I really don't recommend it. And by the way, this is also why I like it. Matthew Judon's going to go against a beat up offensive line. And Matthew Judon would be my defensive MVP as of right now. So maybe I'll have to watch some tape on him. We have the 4th overall pick from the Saints, so it's not something I would like to see a team waste. That's going to be a great story because what do you do with the 4th overall pick if you're the Eagles? All right, you got your quarterback. Now, here's the thing. I've seen a lot of mock drafts where quarterbacks go 1, 2, and 3, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. Now, unless Houston wins a lot of games, and somebody else gets that pick, but I don't think Houston's going to take a quarterback. With the Raiders, I saw a mock draft where Houston takes a quarterback, and then the Raiders use Carter with the second pick in the draft, and that to me makes a lot of sense. A lot of people think the Raiders are going to take a quarterback, and we're going to talk a lot of draft stuff. But if he's available at 4, I've seen a lot of mock drafts where Will Anderson goes to the Eagles at 4, and I think that makes a lot of sense and probably will happen. Tough scheduling for them too. Got the Rams, 49ers, and Bucks coming up. You're talking about the Saints? Yeah. I did I miss that game? No. Okay. No, not yet. Okay. That's well, let me go. That's true, because how valuable if your team doesn't win. Hendon Hooker should be a late day 1 kid. I think he'll be 27 on draft day. I think it's 26. I think he should be a late day 1. He may get bet up. That's going to be a great draft story. We're going to do a lot of draft stuff here. Can it be a record number of quarterbacks going in the first round this year? Next year, you mean 2023 or 2024? If you're talking 2023, I'm going to say no. Because I think 4 or 5 is, I think 5's where the limit is, but you never know when it comes to the draft. I understand you're looking to make money, but I saw a stat sheet against the run. It was just the running backs, and the Lions were in the top 5. And when you run defensive stat, only way New York wins if Danny runs. What do you think he's going to do? By the way, any of you guys got wrenches, you know the deal. Nothing against you guys watching porn, but it is not going to be promoted here. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to run. Yeah. There you go. A lot of mock drafts have that, but if it's going to be a great draft. I mean, it's going to be a great draft. So, yeah. Next game, Carolina at Baltimore. Baltimore is a 13-point home favorite. Over-under is 41.5. Did check the weather earlier in the week. It's going to be decent weather, especially for November in Baltimore. God, Baker Mayfield's going to get the start. I actually like Carolina to cover 13. I really do. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. Both defenses can play, but 41.5 is a low number. I wouldn't recommend it, but I would say take the over and take Carolina. I mean, Carolina gets 17 points. The over hits pretty easy, I think. I think it's going to be a surprisingly closer game. I don't think Baltimore blows them out, but yeah, I kind of like Carolina to cover. I like Baltimore to win. I think Baltimore is a team that everybody in the AFC should really look at and be scared. Danny running in the cold for the first time this year. He's going to fumble, trip over the painted line on the ground. Seriously, though, do you think he continue? I don't think it matters. He has a couple turnovers. Who cares? Look. Here's the cold, hard truth. The Giants are probably going to the playoffs. Detroit's a bad team. Do you also think New York will continue not to get penalties? They're playing pretty good football right now. Detroit isn't. I mean, this is a no-brainer, man. I mean, if you let's say you were a Saints fan, you would agree with everything I have to say, but because you're a Lions fan, you're like, no, my team can't lose, but they're going to lose, man. And by the way, if I'm wrong, man, make fun of me for losing $100. I have no problem with that. But this is a no-brainer of a pick, taking the Giants here. They're good at running the ball. The Lions suck at stopping the run. This is, you're playing at home. New York's a tough place to play when they're winning. The fans are going to be jacked up. The Giants defense is good, man. Bottom line, some crazy things have to happen for the Lions to win this game. I didn't take the 3 points, but I'd recommend anybody that go ahead and take 3. This is a no-brainer. I know you don't want to hear that, but I'm just telling you the truth, man. Next up, I got the Rams at the Saints. Saints are 2.5-point home favorite. The over-under is 39. Stafford is going to play. I like the Saints here. I know they've been playing terrible. Do not touch this game. Don't bet on bad teams where there's just craziness going on, but I do like the Saints. I wouldn't recommend them. New York was a good coach away from competing, and it shows. Now, I'm not sold on Daniel Jones, but he's solid enough to make plays. In my opinion, they are a scary team because if Barkley is healthy for the last 2 years, both teams over the last 2 years are significantly different. Barkley is a very unique running back. I think he's the most athletically gifted running back in the NFL. That's no problem. I would say the best running back's Nick Chubb, but I mean, Saquon Barkley is a freak of nature in a league that's full of freaks of nature. I mean, seriously, he owns every single weightlifting record at Penn State, but he still ran a 4.41, has like a 45-inch vertical. Just a freak of nature. Here's the cold, hard truth. The Giants and Lions played two teams, Seattle and Dallas. Rush and Dallas destroyed New York. The Lions lost and fumbled by Williams. Seattle destroyed New York and Detroit. Lost by 3 without Funk, man. God. Funk, come on, man. Come on, man. You don't really think you're going. You know what? Bet it. Fucking bet it. Seriously, bet it. Put some money down on it. You think they're going to win? Bet it. Put some money down. I did. You don't believe this. I know you don't. They're not going to win this game. If you think I'm wrong, show me your bet slip. I'll show you mine. I can show you mine. You don't believe this, man. I know you don't. Next game, Dallas at Minnesota. Minnesota's a 1.5-point home dog. The over-under is 48. Ooh, man. God, this is a tough one. This is a tough one, man. I had no idea. I have no idea what to think. I have no idea. I really don't. I'm so excited to watch this game. I am so excited to watch this game because I really don't know what to think. I don't know if Minnesota, after that game against Buffalo, finally showed me something. I mean, I've been telling people I don't really believe in Minnesota. I don't believe Minnesota. Then they were. I kept on flipping back and forth, and the score was 27-10 late in the third quarter. Buffalo's beating Minnesota. I'm like, they're not that good of a team. It's okay. I was right. They come back and win the game of the year, and now you're at home. You're playing Dallas, which really, I mean, they really should have beat. They really should have beat Green Bay, but I just don't see it. You know, I mean. I'm not sold on any one of these teams. But I'm on the Minnesota bandwagon now. After last week, I'm going to say give me Minnesota to win and cover, obviously. I actually like the under, believe it or not. I actually think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm not sold. Minnesota's defense is not that good. I think Dallas's defense is overrated. But I kind of like Minnesota here. Funk, I know he doesn't. Every team that's beat Detroit is a playoff team. Who is New York beat Jacksonville? I'm telling you, I mean, I put my money where my mouth is. If you really believe it, bet it. I also think we need to consider the Jets be playoff contenders right now. They are playoff contenders right now. They're in second place. Bills are in third with 6-3. The Jets are in second, same record. I think they've had a rather weak schedule. Yeah, the Jets have a weak schedule, and I like this game. I mean, this is really kind of a playoff battle between New England. I like New England better after a bye than the Jets, and New England's healthier, and they're at home. So, no, he didn't. I love Funk, and hopefully Funk knows that, but I'm just telling you, like, I just don't believe him. I think he's just trying to convince himself, but he knows in the back of his mind that everything I'm saying is true. So, I think they can make a run for the playoffs and be an early out. If you're talking about the Jets, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Minnesota is a team. If you're talking about Minnesota, right now, the way the playoffs are, Minnesota would be a two seed. Minnesota would be a 2 seed. San Francisco would be a 7 seed. And I think San Francisco would win. I would bet heavy. And I would take both the points and the money line, because what would happen is San Francisco would probably be like a 7.5, maybe an 8-point dog at Minnesota. If the schedules progress, where San Francisco's like 9-10 win team and Minnesota's like 14-15 win team. So I got Minnesota with a hangover. Yeah, I could see that too, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. That's a game I'm really looking forward to. I don't know the way it works in this area. I don't know which game I'm getting, because the next game is Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's at 3.5-point home dog. The over-under is 40. How are these two teams going to respond? I actually have no idea about the way either one of these teams are going to respond. I'm leaning towards Pittsburgh covering and winning. Maybe. I don't know. If I had to guess on this game, I would take the over. These two teams played week 1. Steelers won in overtime. I think it was 27-24. A crazy game if you didn't get a chance to watch it. Crazy game. A good one, though. Jeffy, I can't say that now. Cowboys are not good. They are not. They are not. Justin Jefferson is going to put Trayvon Diggs. That's going to be interesting, because here's the deal. I don't think that the way Dallas runs their defense, they don't have one corner cover a wide receiver. So Alex Longobordia, Cowboys and points is a good bet. Minnesota, they are a Super Bowl contender. I'm not sold on them in the playoffs because defense isn't that good. And Dalvin Cook has to stay healthy for this team to be a serious contender. And that's never a solid bet. Matter of fact, didn't New York struggle with the Texans? New York is the worst 7-win team in the NFL. You're all cut up with base numbers, looking at where they came from. All fair points, Funk. All fair points. Are you betting on your Lions? The answer is no, you're not betting on them, because you know they're not going to win. I'm not buying Cousins. Sorry. Cousins in prime time is not done well. And this week, though, this is kind of a weird game. So I don't know what to really expect, to be perfectly honest. Funk, every team that's beaten the Texans lost by at most 2 scores and no more. We have the most 1 possession losses in the NFL. That game means nothing. Giants beat the Ravens and the Titans, 2-1 seeds. So next game, I got Kansas City at the Chargers. This line was at 7. It's now at 5. The over-under is 52. And the reason why the lines dropped from 7 to 5 is because Keenan Allen's practicing, Mike Williams is practicing. I think somebody else for the Chargers got healthy. I'm drawing a complete blank. on it. I'm going to look it up because the place kicker is doubtful. Okay, there's one other player, I'm convinced. Okay. So anyway, the kicker for the Chargers is doubtful. Both Keenan Williams and Mike Williams are at practice. It's still up in the air if they're going to play, but if they do play, they're not going to be 100%. The Chiefs wide receiving core is a little banged up. However, wide receiver number 1 is Travis Kelce. He's healthy. Tony, who had a phenomenal game, he's healthy. MVS has an illness. I think he'll play. I really don't see that being an issue. Juju Smith-Schuster's out, and drawing a blank on the other one. Here's the deal. The Chiefs are actually healthier than the Chargers. A lot of people are seeing all these names on the Chiefs injury report, but they do get Frank Clark back, Willie Gay's back, and the secondary since week 1's first time secondary has been fully healthy and playing some really good ball right now. I love Kansas City here. The fact that these two teams always play entertaining, fun games, I would lean towards the over. At 7, I might have taken the Chargers, but I really like the Chiefs here. I took the money line, but I took the money line ones at 7, so I got negative 300. Right now it's negative 225. Both, by the way, the last 2 times the Chiefs have played in LA, both games have gone into overtime. Chiefs won both those games. So if you went ahead and took the Chargers in the points, I wouldn't blame you. Last year, the score was 34-28. I would lean towards the over on this game, but take the Chargers at your own risk. The over may be the better bet, but I will tell you this. You may see some names on the injury report for Kansas City, but Kansas City's healthier than the Chargers right now, definitely. You know what? 5 points. You know what? If you were going to take the Chargers, you should have got them at 7. 5's less than a touchdown. Just saying. We lost more games. We lost more games by 1 possession than any other team, and we're stuffing Pierce down their throats the entire first half. That game was every other Texans game in a nutshell. Lamar missed 3 wide open touchdowns, and the Titans game was so fluky. They even had a fumble by Barkley go out of bounds by a number. Seriously, am I the only one that watches games? Hey, Funk, it's funny because a lot of times we watch games and we see different things. Like, I think Okuda's playing great ball. You don't think he's playing that well. I get that you're excited about 2-game winning streak. It's just that I'm watching one team in the Lions that plays bad defense. I'm watching another team in the Giants that's playing good defense. I'm watching the Giants at home. Funk, listen to guys watch every Texans game with agony. That game does not represent the Giants. The one thing I will tell you is that the Giants defense is legitimately good. That defense is solid. The Lions defense isn't. And when I see a team that's run heavy with a good defense going against a team that's not got a good defense, and the Giants are at home. If this game was in Detroit, I might be on board with you with this being a possible Lions win, but since it's in New York, I really don't see that. Pierce is strong, a few good pass plays, but nothing else, and don't bend but break defense. By the way, Pierce, God, I love running backs. Of all the positions to watch in the NFL, I think I really get charged out of watching running backs, and I love the way Pierce runs. Just does not want to go down. He runs angry. He also, I don't know his number of touches, but the games I've seen the Texans play, it seems like he gets 25 plus carries, something I don't like. Don't get me wrong, I'm saying he can handle it, but I don't want to see that much. It wouldn't surprise me if they use a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick in next year's draft for another running back. Somebody you can kind of take some pressure off of him, because he's so much fun to watch. It's a divisional game on Sunday night. Those things all benefit Kansas City, not the Chargers. I could tell you this: you're going to see a lot of Chiefs red. I'm telling you this for a fact. Okay, hold on. Dan, watch out for a Tunsil extension this offseason. Houston's going to lock down both their tackles. That would be huge. And also, let's just say Houston continues to play bad and they get the number 1 pick in the draft. The biggest story, and if I'm Houston, I auction the pick, but I tell nobody. I would be public in saying, well, we're not sold on Mills, but privately I'm telling Mills, hey, you're our guy. We're not drafting the quarterback. And see what you can get, because oh God, you know what? I was looking at mock drafts and I forgot. Houston, let me look here real fast. I should have had this pulled up. So I apologize. Let me see here. There's several. There's a few mocked. You know what? The USA had a surprisingly good one today that I was just looking at. Okay, I have that was in October. I'm trying to find one that's up to NFL mock. I don't even know what this site is. This is interesting, huh? Okay, it's giving me like, hold on here. Okay, let's go Barstool Sports. Okay. So Houston would pick 9. Wow, 1 and 9. So what I would this is okay. This is okay. Don't look at this because as Will Anderson gone to Houston at 1, which doesn't make a damn bit of sense. Nothing against Will Anderson, he just doesn't fit in that defense. But at 9, Brian Brees, the defensive lineman out of Clemson, haven't watched enough of him. Lions fans, how would you feel about this? Number 8, Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky. I would be very interesting. That would be very, very, very interesting. Okay. All right. All right. You're a Lions fan. I want to get your opinion. Lions fans, this mock draft, I should post this just for the comic relief. Bryce Young goes number 3. CJ Stroud's on the board at 8, but the Lions take Will Levis instead. And CJ Stroud goes number 12 to Atlanta. Oh, God, Lions fans. Michael Mayer at 11, the Notre Dame tight end. Oh, God, if I was a Lions fan, I would be pissed. So Barstool Sports has a absolutely shit mock draft. Tankathon, that's actually a good one. This is actually pretty solid right here. And this one also has Michael Mayer at 11 for Michael Mayer at 11 for Detroit, and I don't see that at all. This one slasher has Jalen. Okay, I gotta stop reading this. Okay. Alex, that game doesn't. Neither does the other games. The Giants are legit not turning the ball over, not getting penalties, but they also can't score 20. I think they score 20 this week. They're going against a bad defense. They're going against 32nd ranked scoring defense. So, but I mean, I get it. Funk, I think there's one thing you miss about the Giants compared to the Lions defense. Lions have a much worse defense than the Giants. You don't need to score 20 to win. I want that defensive lineman from Georgia at 1. Actually, he'd be a great fit. He would be a great fit because you pick 1 and 9. I'm telling you right now, if I'm Houston and I have the number 1 pick in the draft, I tell everybody, hey, we're looking. I would bring every quarterback in for a workout, and then I'm taking every single phone call I can. And I say, hey, let's get it. And I think the team actually that would be most interested would probably be Detroit. I mean, as of right now, you're picking 8 and 11 or 7 and 11, and that would be kind of a nice trade for everybody. The Lions have some extra draft capital because of the TJ Hawkinson trade. So they have their 2nd round pick plus Minnesota's 2nd round pick. That's kind of what I would see happening. For me, they have Levi's at 7, Kelly Ringo at 11. I've seen a lot of those. I'm curious, if you're a Lions fan, how would you feel about Will Levi's at 7? Dan, right now I'm torn between 3 people at 7 or 8. Ringo, Joey Porter Jr., and Gonzalez, the cornerback from Oregon at 12. I want Trenton Simpson. Dude's my draft crush. I like Simpson. I'm telling you right now, I'm 100% convinced Detroit takes a quarterback unless they can't trade up and Stroud and Young are gone. In that situation, I've seen a lot of I saw one, which I would love to know what your opinion is. I saw one, Anthony Richardson at 11, the quarterback out of Florida. And then the ones I was just looking at right now, Will Levi's at 7. And I'm like, oh my God. Ugh. So, yeah. I don't. Is Houston loses for the season? I just need to be Cleveland. I know you care though, since it affects your pocketbook game. Don't think. Hey, listen. No. I understand. Completely. Hopefully you're not going. Hey Dan, I hope you lose money, but hey Dan, I want my team to have the number 1 pick, and I get that. No, I need Houston to start winning some games because my pocketbook is looking bad. That's why I took 3 games, just the money line, not the points. So I can't wait to openly. You know what? I've seen 3. I've now seen several at 7 and one at 8 because there's most mock drafts have Detroit picking 7 and 11. Some of them have them taking 8. I don't know what the tiebreaker is. Once the draft order gets ironed out, we can do a lot of draft talk in a couple months. But I really want to see what he does at the combine and how he throws. I have not watched Kentucky play a game this year, so I'm kind of going on what you're saying, and I do trust your judgment. But I'm seeing anywhere from 3 to second round, so it's going to be interesting. I keep seeing people saying the Lions would take a tight end. People don't realize how little scheme. You know what? Now we completely agree. Not only is your scheme not target the tight ends, your other tight end, I want to say Wright, doesn't look terrible. I would be shocked if the Lions took Michael Mayer at 11. And honestly, I like Mayer. I don't like him at 11. So if you did take a tight end, and you took one in the first round, I would be floored. I would really be surprised if you guys took a tight end. I think you're going to use your first round pick on a quarterback, and then your second one, you can get very creative and just take best player available. You may have to trade both of them to get up to like number 1. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's say Houston's number 1 pick in the draft. It wouldn't surprise me to see Detroit trade their 2 number 1s, and you have to give up something else to get up to number 1. And then, Detroit would, I think right now, take Bryce Young. He's now my number 1, but between now and the draft, things can change all around. But I think Bryce Young's going to win Heisman. I think he's going to go number 1. And I think that if it's Houston, I don't think they really want to take a quarterback. I think they want to ride with Mills, and I think they want to trade out of the first round. And what team has the draft capital and to want to trade up to number 1? My number 1 answer is Detroit. I don't think you would like that, but it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, you have to give up, you have to get something else. I mean, hopefully not a first in 2023, but you might have to give something else. So honestly, wouldn't be mad if the Eagles picked up the lineman from Northwestern. Peter Chernovsky is his name. I had to look it up. Yeah, I wouldn't know that off the top of my head. There's a lot of talk about him going top 10 because he can play multiple positions. I saw a mock draft where he actually goes number 2 to the Raiders. That actually makes a lot of sense to me, even though he doesn't play left tackle. The only reason I say that is how good brain freeze. The Northwestern left tackle for the Chargers played his rookie year. Now I know he got injured and is gone all of this year, but I mean, he played lights out as a rookie. I mean, I'm like, oh my God. I was really in, that's also another reason why I like the Chiefs, is because Chiefs are going against backup left tackle, and Frank Clark comes back. So yeah. That 6'7" a tight end from Georgia, that's who Detroit would take, and they would be able to get him in the second round. Hold on here. It wouldn't surprise me if they go that route, actually. Probably why they traded Hawk, and Hawk hasn't really impressed in Minnesota. Keep in mind, I mean, he doesn't know the whole offense. I have no idea what they're going to do this offseason. Minnesota's in a very strange cap situation. So I forgot about Mitchell too. But seriously, if you're going to draft a tight end, take the kid from Georgia. That's who I see the Lions taking. But I'm kind of surprised because a former NFL tight end is your head coach, and your offense does not feature tight ends at all. It's very unusual. Chark might be coming back this week. That would actually be kind of interesting. I thought he was out. It won't matter, but I thought he was out. I agree on quarterback, and I think it's going to be Hooker. The interesting thing about Hooker is that, let's say you pick at 7 and 11. If you take 11, if you pick at 11, Hooker would be available. And the best part is about Hooker is that I think he could come in and start right away. I really do. And the best part is about the Lions drafting a rookie quarterback is that you have a solid offensive line. You have a really solid offensive line. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a legit number one. Swift, when he's healthy, he's a really good player. And you also have some young talent on defense. So, I mean, like, if you're a rookie quarterback, even though it's not really the market that you want to go to, I would be very happy to go to Detroit, because usually when you're a bad team, you have a bad offensive line. You can't say that about Detroit. So, who do you want the Chiefs this year? What position are you looking at? With the Chiefs, I have no idea. If it was me, I'm in a silent minority, as I really want to see the Chiefs go defensive tackle. And I want to see somebody with massive upside next to Chris Jones. Because right now we're just putting guys in there. We have a variety of guys, but they're not really upper tier guys. And I'm really high on our first round pick kid out of Purdue. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. Can't believe I forgot his name. So I really want to see a defensive tackle. But the problem is that the Chiefs are picking low. It wouldn't surprise me if this year we trade up in the draft and try to get a defensive tackle early. Like a lot of people, I have a huge man crush on Joey Porter Jr., but I really, really, really don't see a corner be in a position the Chiefs want to have to trade up in the draft to get, because they've used 3 draft picks on corners in this draft. So for me, it would be defensive tackle. So Hawks look solid. What are you talking about? Chark is coming back for his 21-day trial period. He's not legit back, but he could be. 7 catches for 45 yards, kind of mid, bro. 9 for 70 is still not very impressive. J-May will be back soon. That's another thing, is that Bryce Young in that Detroit Lions offense with Jameson Williams in that offensive line makes a lot of sense. That's why I really think that if you're Detroit and Houston has the number 1 pick, I really think that a trade just makes a lot of sense. I think it's win-win for both teams. If you're Houston, you get a lot of first-round picks. You're going to have 3. And look what the Jets did with 3 first-round picks. They went from a bad team to a team that's fighting for a playoff spot in mid-November. And that's what I can see Houston doing, because they could use those 3 first-round draft picks. They got to hit. But that's kind of what I see. So Lions have 15 tight ends. I do think we need a running back. Swift isn't getting it done. It would be interesting because the running back out of, I can't think of his name, but out of Alabama might be a guy that you could get in the second round, and I think that'd be a good fit. But Jordan Robinson, almost every mock draft I see has him going back to Arizona. He's from Phoenix, I believe. I know he played high school football in Arizona, and almost every single Arizona draft has him going to Arizona at 15, and that just makes sense. If you can get him late in the first round, absolutely. I think that just makes a lot of sense, though. Swift is good. Your coordinator stinks, barely runs the ball, and forces Goff to pass 40 times a game. I actually like their offensive coordinator, but I think the reason why Swift doesn't run is just because he's banged up. Amon-Ra, really? I did not know that. I didn't Gibbs and Bam. Yeah, I don't know his first name, but he's a guy I could see going to Detroit in the second round. You use your second round pick on Gibbs out of Alabama. That I could easily see that happening. So finally, I have San Francisco at Arizona. Arizona is an 8-point home dog. The over-under is 43.5. These two teams always play tight. So I would say Arizona, maybe, kind of, sort of. I'm not sold on Arizona at all. I think that Arizona could be a sinking ship. In San Francisco, when they play good defense with Christian McCaffrey now, their offense looks okay. Jimmy G's not a great quarterback, but he does enough to basically, if you're San Francisco, your goal with that defense is just to score 24. You score 24, you're going to win almost every game. Arizona, to me, looks like a team that's just kind of falling apart at the seams. There's a lot of good prop bets that you could make, though. Brandon Ayuk over the last hopefully I'm getting that name wrong. Brandon Ayuk over the last couple of weeks is had over 80 yards receiving. So if you do prop bets, you want to do like a DraftKings, do some fantasy football, take a look at Brandon Ayuk. He's really been putting up some solid numbers. So is DeAndre Hopkins. Even though I like the 49ers defense, over under a 43.5, I can make a strong case for both of those. Both the over and under. I do like Arizona to cover. I would be shocked if San Francisco didn't win this game, though. Slasher Pride Swift can't stay healthy the last 2 weeks. Swift is avoiding contact. That's an issue with Swift if he's healthy. It would not surprise me if you use your first, second round pick on a running back if either Gibbs or Bijan Robinson's available. I don't see Robinson sliding out of first round. And I mean, he might, unless he gets injured or has a terrible, terrible combine, but I really love that kid. Lions offensive would be the best in the league with J-Mo back and a good coordinator. I like Gibbs, but I like Chase Brown, Corum, Tucker. We're gonna do a lot of draft stuff, but Gibbs is both. But Jordan Robinson and Gibbs are the only running backs I've seen with first round grades today, right now. Between now and the draft, there's going to be a lot of things. So when the draft, Slasher, love this. Yeah, great pickup. He's going to the ground for contact. Someone say he's scared. I'm curious how banged up he is and how much of him just doesn't like getting hit. I mean, I can tell you at Georgia, he was not a guy that put his shoulder down almost ever. That's why I liked him in a team like Kansas City that would just kind of focus on what he does well and not try to have him run between the tackles, because in Detroit, they use a lot of in between the tackles, and they run a lot between the tackles, which is kind of interesting. And I don't know if it's because the offensive line's so good or if the running back, I mean, Jamal Williams is not a guy I want running outside at all, but Swift is a guy I do. So there's a lot of questions I have, but I'm kind of curious if he's just banged up or if that's just how he is. So Stat Sheet Sports, what is up, brother, man? I don't remember seeing you on a conversation. Dude, give me a thumbs up on your way in. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, brother. Man, it's great to see you, man. Great to see you. Slasher Ben Johnson is elite. When we start doing draft stuff, bring him up again. I'm going to take a look at him. I haven't had a chance to. Why is Jamal Williams still not getting any carries? 15, 15, 10, 16, one game, but with 24, but it was raining and windy. I think that they kind of like rotating them as like 1 and 1A, but I think it's actually a smart thing. But I think the only thing preventing Swift from getting 15 to 20 touches a game is just he's really banged up. I think they're just kind of babying him. I really don't know. I love Tucker and Gibbs. We're going to do a lot of draft stuff here, man. A lot of draft stuff. First 4 weeks when Swift was healthy, no one questioned because the Lions were putting up 35, but when Swift's hurt and running scared, it's the OC's fault. I don't know, man. Thanks, Pride. We seem to love old Detroit players. This got off the defense, minimized the run. Oh, Jimmy! What's good, everybody? Oh, man, Jimmy, if you missed it, check out the video of my picks. Check out the video with Denver Gators picks. I don't have them in the description, but check them out. And whatever game that you are interested in, prop bets that you're making. I just brought up some prop bets with the 49ers Cardinals. Hopefully you got a chance to check that out. By the way, all my social media links are linked below if you have any questions, anything I don't answer today, because I'm going to wrap this up here in the next couple minutes. I'm going to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes. So yeah, just give me a shout. God awful Eagles defense. Yeah, no. Really think the Eagles have bad run? I think we're missing something. Only thing I was saying is Jordan Davis, but now it's really bad. I think you had I didn't think you guys played bad against Washington, to be perfectly honest. But if you're addressing just Washington, that's kind of interesting. Any chance the Packers find a way to make the playoffs? Right now, the answer is yes. And the reason why I say that is because the two top teams right now are Philly and Minnesota. But I don't know off the top of my head, but last I looked, the 7th seed was San Francisco, which is 5-4. Let's take a look real fast. All right. So right now, Green Bay is 11 at 4-7, and number 7 seed would be San Francisco at 5-4. So I mean, even though 4-7 sounds really bad, and I do think that San Francisco does win this game. All right, that's only 2 games out with 6 to play, and you're going to play some of these teams too. Let's take a look at your schedule. I mean, you have an interesting game here at Philly, at Chicago. You get the Rams at home on Monday night, at Miami, but you finish the season at home against Minnesota and Detroit. So you are going to have a possibility to get into the playoffs. I think it's slim. To be perfectly honest, I think it's slim because I think San Francisco is a team, if they can stay healthy, they're a team I would be really worried about. But there's a very good chance an 8-9 win team makes the playoffs, and you could still do that. You have to have some things bounce your way, and with a loss, that you have, and with your team beat up the way it is, I think it's unlikely. But is there a chance? Yeah, sure. Dan, I think Swift is mentally hurt. If you watch the way he ran at the beginning of the year and compared to now, there's a monster difference. That's possibility. I don't know. A lot of times when here's the thing with Swift, and I said this at the beginning of the year, is that if your plans to run him between the tackles, you're really just misusing him, because this is a guy you want outside the tackles, and I think that they really haven't tailored the offense around what Swift does right. A couple of years ago, the Chargers used Austin Eckler as a slot receiver. He had like 108, 105 receptions, something crazy. I mean, he was a running back, but they basically used him as a slot receiver, and that's what Detroit needs to do with Swift. Don't have him running between the tackles. That just doesn't make any sense to me. You got a guy who's got breakaway speed. He's not a power guy. He does look bigger. Like he's put on what I call the NFL 20. I think he's put on like the NFL 10. But, I mean, this is a guy, why use him between the tackles when he's got all this great speed? I don't know if you would – I would use the term mentally hurt, but I would not like – I don't like using them between the tackles at all. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's just say the coaching staff stays the same, just for argument's sakes. This offseason, it wouldn't surprise me if you draft a running back, get another running back, and then try to use Swift more on the outside. Same thing I said this year, but for that reason is that he looks like he's wearing down. I don't know if it's physical or mental, but it does seem like he's not a guy that's going to break a lot of tackles. So, I saw yours checked out Gators, though. Yeah, check them both out. And also made some shorts, too. I think Swift is like Theo Reddick. Definitely need a bell. Actually, I disagree. I don't think you need a bell cow back. I think that what you want to do, like take a look at Kansas City. He uses like 3 or 4 running backs. And that's what I think that you do in Detroit. You don't want to give a lot of money to one running back. You have 2 or 3 that are pretty good. And then what you want to do is that I think sooner rather than later, you want to pay Amon-Ra St. Brown and give him a lot of money. Just give him a lot of money. He's a guy that for years I kept on saying he's a number 2. He's a number 2. He's not. I'm wrong. So I just looked it up. It's really bad. 127.78 rushing yards against our defense. 7 teams was over 120 yards in one game. All right, didn't know that. I'm surprised the Rams are underdogs against the Saints, but it looks like Stafford is playing. I know Kupp is out and the Rams haven't been great, but the Saints haven't been either. That's a game I would avoid like the plague, Jimmy. Don't bet on bad teams. Don't bet on bad teams. I would actually take the Saints. They're at home. I just can't see them losing, but don't bet on bad teams. I would avoid it. Yeah, if you got Swift on your fantasy team, that's not a good move. I would have liked it at the beginning of the year. If you're in a PPR league, I would have really liked it, but if not, I get it. Pride, I mean a souped up version, but Theo is nothing more than a slot wide receiver. That's kind of what I want Swift to be. That lines you out of backfield. No one thought he was carrying the rock. Swift brings 8 to the box because of the run. Yeah, and that's something I hope, right? Because of the run stat, and he's hurt and he's playing timidly. Yeah, and that's why I think that this offseason, let's just say everything stays the same. I really think that you need to take Swift and put him on the outside, actually using him like Theo Riddick. I think he's better than Theo Riddick, but that's kind of, it was funny. I was talking earlier today with a guy whose buddy played at Oklahoma, and we were talking about the Georgia-Oklahoma game, 54-51, where Georgia won. It was a New Year's Day. I forget which bowl game it was. I'm going to say Rose Bowl, but I don't remember. Baker Mayfield was quarterback for Oklahoma, and then they had Nick Chubb and Sony Michel. And we were talking because Merkel Hardman, who's with the Chiefs, that's the other guy I was trying to think. He's on IR. He was a 5-star running back, and he was going to be the next running back after Chubb and Michelle left for the NFL. But then Georgia recruited DeAndre Swift, and they told Merkel Hardman, it's like, look, we got DeAndre Swift. Can you play receivers? So, yeah. And all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Before I do want to touch base on Alex's picks here. He's got, you know what, Alex? Hold on here. I am going to keep track of this here. I want to use I'm going to use Notepad because if I reboot my computer, I have an update. It won't go away, but all right. All right, never mind here. I'm going to have to do it like this being difficult. I'm going to keep track of your picks here, man. Atlanta over Chicago. That's interesting. Buffalo, Philly. I hate the Jets pick, of course, but that's okay. New York over Denver, or Detroit. I'm sorry. Baltimore. Okay. You got Houston. I actually do like Houston this week. Denver. I skipped that one. I'm positive I skipped that one. Hold on here because I think the line's been taken off. Let me double check. Yeah, I got Cincinnati. I know you don't believe the Chargers are going to win. And San Francisco. Okay. That's the game I was missing. And it was, okay, I skipped this one because of the weird, okay. Raiders at Denver. Denver's a 3-point home favorite. Over-under is 41. I like the Raiders. I like the Raiders to win. I'm almost ready to bet the Raiders, but I don't bet on bad teams as a general thumb. But I like the Raiders to win this one. I actually like the Raiders to win. I think Denver's falling apart. And even though a lot of social media keeps on talking about how great the Denver defense is, that's fine. But you spent $250 million on Russell Wilson. You know, you shouldn't be trying to find good things here. I think the Raiders kind of put everything together this week, and they've won 5 straight against Denver. So that's my pick here. So you can check out my video. I don't have the links in the description. Go to my YouTube channel and you see my picks. If you subscribe to me on social media, all my social media links are below. If you have any questions tonight or tomorrow, I'll answer all of them. And I'll be back Tuesday. One other thing is me and Denver Gator decided that we're going to get together on Monday. So when I do my show on Tuesday, I'll have all my picks released. That way you don't have to wait till Friday. Speaking of Denver, what do you make of the rumors that Russ is calling audibles from And his squad has no idea. I have not heard that, but I do know this is that that was kind of a big reason why Seattle wanted to do this trade, is that Russell's just kind of calling audibles. I have not heard that, but I will say this, that the disconnect in Denver's offense is just literally comical, because I was in Colorado, and they really thought that they were like going to win a Super Bowl this year, and I was like, oh my God, I mean, no, this isn't. Signing Russell Wilson is not going to be the way it works. I didn't think the offense would be nearly this bad. Now, they have had a lot of injuries. It's kind of funny. Never mind. I don't feel like I should say I was going to kind of make fun of somebody, but yeah, it's going to be kind of a rough off season. But here's the thing: like Denver can add some players in free agency. They're going to get a first-round draft pick for Bradley Chubb. The defense is still really good. Next year, Denver could be a real dangerous team. I haven't heard that, but it is funny. It is funny. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Me and Denver Gator will have our picks video out by Wednesday. And Funk, you know that if your Lions do win, I fully expect you to make fun of me on Tuesday. Because I will firmly deserve it. But anyway, guys, don't forget, give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, and please share this video. If you get a chance after it is over, the audible hot take is okay. If you get a chance after the show's over, drop a comment. Anything at all is healthy. For the YouTube algorithm. Luck retiring destroyed Denver's quarterback situation. How do you say both Elway and Manning were drafted by Indy? Yeah. It's actually funny. When Luck retired, I predicted he would come back in 2021, and he would say, "Look at all the money these guys are making. I can outplay them, and I'll just." I would love nothing more than if Andrew Luck came back to the NFL. I would love nothing more. But it is interesting. I'm wondering if you mean Colts, though, or if you mean that the Denver situation. I get it, because Andrew Luck would be in Denver. I guess that's actually interesting. A lot of people forget that Elway was drafted by the Colts. I actually was born in Baltimore, and I lived in Baltimore at that time, and the amount of hatred that John Elway received from the city of Baltimore there's very few cities that hated a player more. And it's actually funny, his rookie year, they played the Colts in Baltimore, and Baltimore's up 20-0 in the fourth quarter, and Elway, it was his first fourth quarter comeback. Maybe one of the best ones he had, and he came back and won 21-20 in the fourth quarter. It was crazy. That Elway to Marino special, after watching that, I didn't really hate John Elway nearly as much. He kind of explained how, the organization in Baltimore was crazy. He just didn't want to go there, and he was right. I mean, they moved to Indianapolis the next year, so after watching that, that's a great 30 for 30. Not too long ago, earlier this week, I actually watched for the first time the Bad Boys, and I was like, "What's the Bad Boys?" And I completely forgot it was about the Detroit Pistons and their championship years. And then I looked it up, and I saw Bill Laimbeer got in a fight with Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas punched him, broke his hand, and then Laimbeer retired after that. And anyway, I was like, I'm babbling now. I'm just babbling incoherently now, so I apologize. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Guys, have a great weekend. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, social media, hit me up. Saturday night, I'm okay. Sunday, I'm going to have my phone off, so don't message me on Sunday, but message me on Saturday. I'll be back. I'll have my picks video out by Monday, and I will see everybody back here on Tuesday.